in their minds, right, they have this idea of what Latinos look like and what Black people look like, and the colorisms and things. And so those were moments that defined me as a person, because it took away my innocence of like, oh, oh, right, like I'm not what I think I am. A lot of times when we talk about equity, we talk about wanting to see things that look like you, right? You want to see the actress in the movie, you want to see the woman on the commercial, but also when we talk about a seat at the table in equity, we have to talk about the people behind those things too. The gaffers, the sound engineers, the stage managers, the producers, the writers. You also want it to be people who look and sound like you. I didn't want it to come off as if I didn't appreciate what was out there, but it was almost like, I'm not just going to take what you give me just because you're giving it to me. And so I wanted to write characters and stories that I felt like we could appreciate, we could see ourselves in, and things that are not already out there that should be, that are normal to us and not normal to them. And
Sabrosura pa' ti que qué.
Hola, hola, welcome back to Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast que comparte nuestras historias sin censura, unmuted. El día de hoy tenemos una conversación with Crystal Roman. Crystal is the founder, CEO, head writer, and producer of the Black Latina Movement. The Black Latina Movement is a vibrant grassroots theater and film production company based in New York City. Crystal started the movement after having been in the entertainment industry for 7 years, and when she noticed that there weren't a lot of roles that showed the multi-dynamics of women. Black Latina Movement, established in 2008, and it provides a place for women that are multicultural, multiracial, and all of the intersectionalities that most women of color represent but don't receive the imagery in the media. It is a platform of entertainment that strives to break norms, ideologies, and stereotypes the media is so often comfortable with. Crystal is a proud Black Latina who continues to advocate for the complexities of womanhood in an identity driven society. As a content creator and director of the Black Latina Movement, her critically acclaimed catalog consists of the nationally toured stage play, Black Latina, The Play, and festival premiered web series, The Colors of Love, and international award winning script, Blended. Crystal wrote, co-produced, directed, and co-starred in her latest film project, award-winning turned web series, Cecilia the Celibate, a romantic comedy about a Black Latina New York City trying to find love minus the sex. Crystal has been featured on Pix 11, Huffington Post, Latina Magazine, Arise TV, Madame Noir, and more. Bueno, Crystal listeners, is a lot of fun. We truly had a cafecito conversation. It felt really natural and super fun, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did, and check it out. Sometimes I interview so many people from New York City, and I'm always like, why am I not there to go support and watch the plays and like do all the things in New York City? But here we are on the West Coast, so at least we can enjoy it from afar. Bueno, sin más, here's my conversation with Crystal Roman. Crystal, welcome to Café con Pam.
thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you. So the question we always ask in the beginning is, what is your heritage?
I am a native New Yorker. My background is Jamaican and Puerto Rican.
Very Caribbean.
Very Caribbean.
And you were born and raised in New York?
Born and raised in New York, yeah. I'm third generation on my mom's side, second generation on my dad's, yeah. We have been here for a long time.
So they met in New York?
Yes, my parents met in New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was it for you to grow up bicultural?
It was in New York. One of the things that I've learned about, from traveling with my shows is I'm very spoiled living in New York, because in New York, we're such a melting pot. Everyone says that, but you don't really realize it until you leave New York. And so you can go down the block and get Panamanian food. You can go over on the corner and get a pupusa from El Salvador. I mean, it's just everywhere.
Yes.
And so it wasn't a thing. It wasn't as difficult navigating being, you know, a Black Latina in New York. I think with my career as an actress and as a producer and as a director, as I started to go into different spaces, then I realized, oh, New York kind of gave me this false security because, we're just everything goes here in New York. When you think about all the different plights of people, whether it was like women's suffrage or gay rights or even civil rights. A lot of these movements had hubs or homes here in New York. And so even in my personal career, I've been in finance for 20 years. Even in that, it was like, oh, I'm the only brown girl as I get a little bit high. So whether it was in the entertainment industry, in finance, or whatever, New York has really given me a security blanket that I didn't know until I
Yes.
go to Cali or I go. And don't get me wrong, there's Black Latinos and there's Latinos of all different shapes and sizes and colors and Black people, but not as in tuned as New York. Yeah,
Yes, New York is very special,
yeah,
for sure. I've interviewed so many people and I've traveled throughout the US, and there's no place like New
yeah.
York.
No. So, growing up was, everyone looked like me. All my cousins looked like me. We sound the same. You have the plethora of different colors and shapes and sizes, and we're all Latino. It never felt like there was a weirdness until then you become the other, right? Air quotes. Yeah.
When did that happen?
Well, New York City, I should say, is consisted of 5 boroughs, and so one of them being Staten Island is like primarily white. And so when I was growing up, I grew up in Harlem and Washington Heights. And Washington Heights is still my home because my dad still lives there. But when my parents broke up, my mom, we moved, my siblings and my stepdad, we moved to Staten Island, which was really an interesting place to live in, amazing place because it was the most um as a kid, the most white people I had ever been around. You're living in Harlem. I mean, the old Harlem, not the gentrified Harlem, but it was the most I had been around that culture, met amazing people, wonderful people, but at the same time, the other definitely came up. So like, is that your
How old
mom?
were you?
10. I was 10.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, is that really your mom? Is she the babysitter? We got on a bus and the bus driver was like, well, just to let you know, this bus doesn't go to Harlem.
Oh,
And we knew it didn't. It was a regular bus going to like the supermarket. Yeah, it was just weird stuff like in school, like friends or teachers, well, not friends, but teachers would say stuff. It was weird. I mean, and then, to see like the Everett Gardner, like I Can't Breathe, that whole situation happened there. So, I don't want to down it because it was a great place. I lived there for many years. I have children, both my children, I, birthed them there. But it has and still has its race relations.
so you stayed there for a while.
I stayed there for a while. I stayed there for like almost 20 years. Yeah. Stayed there for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because again, like you're gonna find bad people everywhere, right? Like it's not gonna be just, you're gonna find the like people who just are ignorant and stupid. So you can't put everyone into the box and say, oh, all white people are bad. No, we know that's not true. But I did have really unique and interesting situations that happened there that I didn't experience back when I was in Washington Heights or in Harlem. Yeah, that's undeniable. Mhm.
Yeah, and I think it just shows I mean, you were 10, the first time you arrived there, and how resilient kids are,
Yes,
because
yes.
you were probably hearing things or experiencing things, and as a 10-year-old, your little inner niña was probably like, I don't know, like maybe they're just mean people, or do you remember?
Um, I think I don't want to say they didn't know because then that's giving them a pass. But I remember in one of my plays, it's this scene, actually show it in the play. Um, I'm at parent teacher conference and it's a reenactment of it. And I'm waiting for my mom and like she finally comes and she's next to me and the teacher's like, where's your mom? And I'm like, it wasn't like she was far away. She was like a few feet. And I was just like, do you not have you not experienced people that like in their minds, right? They have this idea of what Latinos look like and what Black people look like, and the colorisms and things. And so those were moments that defined me as a person, because it took away my innocence of like, oh, oh, right? Like I'm not what I think I am. And those things
Mm,
change for you as a person, yeah.
totally. Is your mom Jamaican? Is your mom Puerto Rican?
My mom is both. My mom is both. So my mom is like what I would consider like a Black Latina twice over. So her mother is an Afro Puerto Rican, and her mother and her father, her mother and her my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, both her parents are from Puerto Rico, and they're both Afro Puerto Ricans. So my grandmother is an Afro Puerto Rican. My grandfather is Jamaican and also has like Moroccan heritage. So she would be like a Black Latina in the sense that her father is a Black person, but also her mother is Afro descendant, right? Because
Yeah.
she's a Afro Boricua. So my mom is dark skinned. She's about like Oprah's complexion. And, we all have family members that are lighter or darker or whatever. We know that in the Latino community, but I don't,
Mm-hmm.
at that time, and maybe even still now, a lot of people don't know the beauty of Latinos, and that we're not just one look, and we also are an ethnicity, not a race.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's those complexities, and being there definitely set that tone for me at a very young age.
Yeah. What did your mom say?
She's like the typical Black and Latino mother who's like stoic, and it's just like,
Yes.
como si nada, like, come on, let's go, come on, Crystal, like, and I'm like, did you not just did you not experience what I experienced? It was the same thing with the bus driver. I'm like, I looked at the bus, like, I know this bus doesn't go, like, we don't, there's no buses in Staten Island that go to Harlem, but she's just like, come on, come on, like, and I guess it's just this thing which is like a gift and a curse for our women. It's like having to
Mm-hmm.
internalize and repress everything and suck it all in, because they know that this has been going on for eons, and they have to be this strong person.
Yes. Yes. Oof. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever have conversations with as you were living in that space, like, why are people saying these things? Or
I would say to her, like, what happened or what, and she would just say, like, people are stupid and people just don't understand who we are, or like the world will eventually change and maybe it'll change with you, or, your brother and your sister, or more people are going to look like you, as there's more mixing. She would say little tidbits as I was a kid, because also you're a kid, so you can't
yes.
really, internalize so much, and then as I got older, I got it. But she would say certain things, yeah.
So how did you get into finance?
Finance, it was so weird. It wasn't like something I wanted to do. I had just had a baby and I just graduated from college, and my degree was in business, and I had a girlfriend who, back in the day, there were like these news articles about job offers, and
Yes.
there was like this round robin to go take a test to work at a bank, and the girlfriend was like, I gotta go, I gotta get a job, you should just come with me. And I'm like, she's like, you're not doing nothing, like, just come. So I go and we take the test and I pass and she does it.
She didn't. Ah.
And so I started working at a bank, and I was a teller, and then went up the ranks, and then was a branch manager, did the whole thing, and then went to was in the retail side, which that's what's called retail banking, and then left to go to the corporate side, and went into administration. Yeah, yeah.
Wait, but you just had a baby.
I had just had he was like 6 months old, so I was like on a leave
Okay.
from work. I was doing little like whatever jobs because I was in college still.
Uh-huh.
um and then I didn't know if I wanted to go back to work, and then she was like, just go, and my mom was like, oh, just check it out, try it.
Why not? How funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you love it?
I must have, because I've been doing it for
Did you stay? I
um
know.
I did. I enjoyed it in the beginning. It was challenging. It was something new. It was something, sometimes when you jump into something that you've never thought about,
Mm,
you actually love it more, because it's not like something a preconceived thing.
mhm.
Sometimes if you overthink something, it just dies out the fun. So for me, I was like, yeah, let me try this. I enjoyed it so much. I was part of the market crash. So the bank originally was Washington Mutual, and then Chase
Oh
took
my
them over.
gosh.
Yeah, and it was a whole thing. And then after a while, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But then, and then I had another child. I left, came back. I must have liked it. And then I didn't want to do I didn't want to be in office and do like the retail part of it, which is like customers and all of that, because it could get really. I mean, we could have a whole nother episode about customers and
All
people
the
in
stories.
finance. And then I was like, you know what? There was an opening to be an administrative assistant, and so I got into that side of things and HR and that. And so that was easier for me with two kids and being a mom. And it's like it's easier to kind of have the typical 9 to 5, go into the office. They call it like a cushy position.
Mm,
It's not cushy, but it's a little bit more. You're able to maintain a little bit more, like, and also for like your mental health,
yeah.
because you really have to have thick skin to be in any kind of career that deals with the public. Yeah,
And money.
and money. Yeah. Money and food is like I don't know how people in hospitality do it, but
No kidding.
yeah.
Hospitality. Yeah. I have a client that we love talking about hospitality because it's such an industry in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get into acting?
So acting was like a hobby between like high school, before I had started college, before I had even started banking, and being in finance. It was a hobby after high school, something to do while I was in college. And then it just snowballed into a whole. I mean, I've been in it for 17 years now, so it was just something I was doing. I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. They had a summer intensive. I went 2 summers in a row, and then just started auditioning, and it was great. Like I was with different companies, and I was touring, and I was doing films. It was really nice. I did it for like a good 7 years, and then there was just a moment where I was like, I need to just get my own thing going on. I have a degree in business. I need to just create my own. Yeah,
So you kept both
I kept
the
both. Yeah.
bank
That
and
funded my business. Yeah. When people say, "Oh, like entrepreneurs, let go of the 9 to 5." No, don't let go of the 9 to 5.
I agree.
It is your income. It supports and it finances your dreams until your dreams can completely become separate and you can live off of that. Because even when I've made great money in my business, it's entrepreneurship. So there's highs and lows. You can go 6 months with nothing coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So I never say let it go. I've had moments where I've taken, little breaks or taken a leave for like 3 to 6 months and been, blessed enough to do that. But I'm always back to that because it's more secure until you can do it on your own. It's not a failure. People say, oh, it's a failure, but it's not.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that we've romanticized like leaving the 9 to 5 to start a business so much that people get so like I've met so many people that have to go back to work
Yeah.
to a job they hate
Yeah. Yeah.
because they were like, I'm gonna just start the business, and there's no infrastructure, there's no foundation, there's no capital, especially for Latinas.
Yeah.
It's like we can go and so all the things. How did your experience in the bank support, if it did, building your business? Not just the funding of it, but
Mm-hmm.
also like having dealt with humans and all the various positions that you held.
So one, like learning business structure. Once I became like a supervisor and a manager, you learn business structure. You learn the way that how businesses are supposed to operate because we were also, they open business accounts there. So you get to see how different businesses operate and you get to meet different business people. You get gems for free. Or you'll say to them, like, I'm trying to open a business. You'll be surprised how open people are to just hearing what you want to do. So that was really important, learning the difference of an S corp or an LLC or C corp. All those things, being in
Mm,
finance, put me in a position to, work with my business in that. And then watching people with their own money management. I would see people. I remember there was a young girl who came into money. She had an accident in New York City and came into like $500,000 and blew it in like 2 weeks.
in 2
Yeah,
weeks?
in like 2 weeks she
Oh
blew
my
money.
gosh.
Right. But then you see people learning about investments because, in any financial, institution, they have investments. So you learn how investments, mutual funds, stocks and bonds, how that works. And so it's all little like a little ratoncito, like you're taking little pieces of
Mm-hmm.
everything and you're eating it up and you're taking it in to say, when it's my turn, I kind of have the foundation now of what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was always great. It was always great. I mean, people wise, you meet all types of characters. I could probably write a play on all the different
I'm sure.
characters, but you meet so many different people. But you also have to learn that, people are human. Everyone is going through something, and so it teaches you humility for even just a life skill, just humility and
Mm.
just understanding that like everyone has something going on. We have to just work, live in this earth together, and so yeah, there was so many things I was able to pull from it.
I'm sure being able to see the back end, like I'm always curious when I go to the like I don't often go to the bank anymore because everything you can be done
Yeah,
online.
digital. Yeah.
But when I do, I'm always like, I wonder what the people on the other side of the window they get to see everything, like all my
Everything.
transactions and like
Yeah.
how much do they judge me? How was it to be able to see even like that, the money management? Because I think something we don't often talk about. One, as Latinos, we don't talk about money
Hmm.
because it's like, oh, it just exists and it's this like obscure thing, and
Yeah.
and two, we also don't talk about growing it, saving it. I remember I when I was in college, I had a neighbor upstairs. I lived by myself in a little tiny one-bedroom apartment, and the guy upstairs had lived there for like his whole life. And he didn't believe, he was a Mexican man immigrant. He didn't believe in banks because
Yeah.
he thought, they were like the devil.
Yeah.
So he would all his paychecks, he would roll them. You know how like they show them in the
Hmm.
movies, like
Hmm.
rolled,
Hmm.
and he would stick them in the mattress. By the time he opened the mattress, all the money was rotted. He had no
Wow.
money.
Oh
I
my
know. And everyone was
God.
like, OMG. He was so sad, like his life savings.
Hmm.
So do you have any stories like that about wild things? I mean, I'm sure
I
you do.
I have a bunch. I think for like money is very cultural and it's very generational. So you will see a lot of, unfortunately, you do see white people who understand money on a different level from black and brown people, but I think a lot of that is also because of like some of the shady practices that financial institutions have used against Latinos and black people. So like
Yes.
when you think about redlining for our homes, that's the banks who are doing that. When you think about um stealing money, right? Like there were a lot of times that, during like after slavery and all of that, that blacks and Latinos would have money in the bank and all of a sudden the money wasn't there anymore. There are a lot of stories of institutions who did things like that. So I think people get very nervous, which is understandable, similar to the healthcare industry, right? No one wanted to get, vaccines or different things like that because of historically what the medical industry has done to blacks and Latinos and using that, use disinfecting, Mexicans for really putting stuff on them,
Yes.
giving black men syphilis, to try to find the back. So it's the same thing in the financial industry. One thing that I've learned is that just also like who gets your money at the end. So like there was also a thing where you have to have a beneficiary on your account. People think, oh, because I have a husband, and it's like, no, your husband is not your beneficiary. And so there was one time where there was a man who he passed away, and his wife came in and she was like, I have the death certificate, and I looked at the death certificate, and when I went to the bank account, the beneficiary was not her.
No.
And I couldn't tell her that
Oh,
it was another woman.
no
It was
way.
another woman. Yeah. He had like a
Was it a
whole
lot of
other
money?
family. It was a very nice amount of money. He had like a whole other family, girl. It was crazy. And so that was something that I'm like, oh wow. Also too, like you can put the percentages of who gets what. So
Mm-hmm.
like there's also a lot of sibling rivalry. It's like he got 40%, I got 20, a lot of that. And so Latinos, blacks don't really, not to say we don't know that, we do, but not, it's not something that's learned the way that I feel like the white
Mm-hmm.
community has learned it. And because of it just being generationally, they've had more wealth than we have. And, there's an equity gap.
Mm-hmm.
But we are getting better with those things. But even myself, like my parents didn't know any of that. So I'm at the bank like a novela, like, oh my God. And certain people are like, oh yeah, this is how this goes. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. As you're sharing this, it made me think of my partner's a white man from the Midwest, like the
Hmm.
whitest of the white you can find. I call him the
Hmm.
lumberjack, and but he's with me, so he's a good
Love
white
it.
man.
Love it.
And but his family, like every time we go visit his family, it's fascinating how white people deal with situations. His grandparents are much like they're in their 90s, and we went last like over the holidays, and there we noticed that like the house is kind of packed.
Hmm.
There's like less things on the walls, and there's like some boxes. And I was talking to the grandma, and she's like, we're getting older, we're gonna die soon, so I'm just packing my house up, so when that happens I don't leave like much to my kid. And I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah,
you're talking about death, you're not like,
I know.
what's happening? And she's like, yeah, so we're taking care of everything right now, well, we're still like sane and our brains are still. And I'm like, David, your grandma's talking about death, like what? And he's like, yeah, it's normal.
Yeah.
M- on the other hand,
Yeah.
my family is like,
Yeah.
we're already talking about who's going to clean what room,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Or they're gonna hoard, like they hoard all these
right.
different things, and it's like,
Yes.
your abuela sabana from like 1973. It's like, can we just throw this out? Because this is never gonna be used again. She's like, oh no, te preocupa. Like, it's like, no,
Yeah.
girl.
Is the one that she came with? Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah. You see it. You definitely see the disparity.
It's fascinating how the money conversation bleeds into lifestyle and
Yeah.
how we navigate the world.
Right. And how we see money, right? We see money as something like you hold on to, or like we have a really weird relationship with money where they don't see money
Mhm.
in that kind of way. It's just a thing, right? Where us, it's like everything. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. For sure. And so when you have been working in finance, you've been seeing all of these like behind the scenes stories, which is great. I do think we could have a whole episode on just all the things you saw in banking.
Yeah.
And you start your company
Yeah.
because you're like, you also, let's now bring it to the other side, as you are an actor, actress, and you're facing all of the things that you're facing, you also see a disparity.
So I was feeling like it was just weird. Like I would read these casting calls, and the Latina would be like, "I papi," blah 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 blah, right? Like she would just like the Sofia Vergara character, which is nothing wrong with that, right? Like I want to be clear that some of these stereotypes are real people in our lives and our families that we know of. However, it just feels weird that these are the only ones that are there when it's like we also have friends that are lawyers and doctors and so on. And so I didn't want it to come off as if I didn't appreciate what was out there, but it was almost like I'm not just going to take what you give me just because you're giving it to me. And so I wanted to write characters and stories that I felt like we could appreciate, we could see ourselves in, and things that are not already out there that should be, that are normal to us and not normal to them. And so I wanted to kind of break some of these gender roles, some of these stereotypes that are out there. We could keep them, they're fine, but let's add on to the catalog of who Latinas are and what we look like. We're not always the dishwasher or the maid or the drug cartel queen pin. Like those are real. I'm never going to take that away. But let's add on. Let's create more of a catalog. And so that was what I wanted to do, is to give depth to some of these voices.
And what was the first step you took?
So I started to write the first play, which is like our signature play. We tour all over the country with it. It's called Black Latina the Play. And that is about representation. That visually you're seeing what Black Latinas look like. You're hearing our stories, you're hearing our plight. It's about three women who are going through this journey, going to their school reunion. You know how reunions are. And it kind of drudges up all of these feelings that they've been having. and how there is the idea of like external and internal racism. And we talk a lot about like
Mm.
um black on white and that whole plight, but it's really like black on black, black on brown, brown on brown. And some of the
Yes.
little secrets that we have in the nuances that we don't really talk about as Black Latinos, what Latinos are going through, what Black people are going through. And so it's so interesting because now that, everything that happened with the election, I wasn't surprised because I'm like, but this isn't new. Like, Latinos have had some issues with anti Blackness and have had some issues with, very machismo too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
some are gonna pick,
The man, just because he's a man.
yeah, right, as opposed to a woman. So like talking and addressing about these things for me was very cathartic. And so I wrote the play. It started out as like a one woman show, then it was a 5-person ensemble. Now we have 3 women, but it's a full like kind of off Broadway production, music, dancing, this and that, and trying to get everyone's culture in. So you do see how we are African descendants. Most of the slave trade didn't come to America, came to North America, came to South Central and the Caribbean, and
Yes.
how there's undeniable like traits there, and things that I feel like always knew, but I realized the world didn't know.
Yes.
And so we've toured with it. We've been to USC, we've been to LSU, we've been to Penn State. It's been a really beautiful experience because then I get to meet so many Latinas all over the country, and they're just like, oh my God, I feel the same. So it's just nice to know that it's not just me. But at first, it was very scary to do a play about us because it's just like, who is she
Yes.
airing out our laundry? But it was fun. And then from there, all my other projects came from there. Yeah.
How was it for you to, from idea, like, I need to do this because it's necessary, to like, you get the curtains closed and you're like, oh my gosh, this happened.
It's always like that. We went off Broadway last year with one of my other shows called Of Mothers and Men, and it's 9 monologues about women. And it's always like I'm always sitting in the theater like the night before we go off, and it's just like I just wrote words on a page, right? And then to see it come to life, but it's so beautiful, like the manifestation of that. Like you can take something as simple as a piece of paper and write words on it, and it grows into this life that you no longer, it's kind of like children. You don't own your children. I mean, you can't tell any Latina mom that, but you don't own
Right.
your children. Like you cultivate them as much as you can, and then you send them off to the world and you pray that they make the best of life. And so for me, it's kind of like that. Like when I wrote the play and the first time it felt like a surreal experience. Like this is really happening. I'm watching people
Mm,
laugh and cry and have these other thoughts that I didn't even think about when I wrote the piece. And that's rewarding because people are receiving it and it's becoming like a thought piece where they're thinking farther than even what I had imagined.
I love that. That's why I think art needs to be like, everyone needs to keep creating art, even as we are dealing with such hard times,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's so necessary.
But art can be anything, right? Like this is art. Like getting on a conversation and just speaking to each other, feeling warm, feeling comfortable. That's art. Like it doesn't have to be money, right? Like you can eventually monetize it in some way, but I think we have to get to like the place, like almost like our ancestors. They were telling stories around a fire, and some of our, generational stories weren't written down, they were told.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's important. Yeah.
So important. And you're like doing that. Okay, let's take a quick coffee break.
Okay.
Sabrosura pa' tu que.
So, Crystal, do you drink coffee?
I do. I had my coffee this morning.
We're past the time of coffee.
I
How do you
know.
drink your coffee?
So I'm like onto this whole like oat milk kick from they have like oat milk creamers. So I have Bustelo obviously with an oat milk creamer, but it's flavored, so it's brown sugar, and I froth it.
Ooh.
It is amazing. Now I'm just doing one, and then if I need something else, I will do tea because I originally was like a tea girl, and then I got into coffee, and so like yeah. But I'll do tea in the afternoon, or I'll ice my tea a good spearmint tea, a good echinacea with lemon, a black
Mm,
tea. Hibiscus is a good tea. So like I'll have my coffee in the morning, and then if I need a little something extra with caffeine, I'll do some tea. Yeah.
you'll do tea. So you drink your coffee. How do you? So you said bustelo,
Uh-huh.
but how do you brew it? What's your brewing method?
You know what I've been doing? Because I've been on the run. I've been just doing instant and not really brewing it.
Wow,
Yeah, I've been doing instant Bustelo. Like it's horrible. But I'll put the oat milk in the frother, and then I'll just get the instant and heat the water and just and run around. Yeah,
done.
like a chicken without a head.
Nice.
That's horrible. But I should be using. I have an espresso, but it's just been hectic.
It takes a while. It's
It
very
takes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Doing the whole thing is very ritualistic, and you do need to make the time for it.
Yes.
I
Yes.
yes.
Yes. How do you drink your coffee?
Earlier before we started recording, I told you I'm on this cacao journey with
Hmm.
building a relationship with mother cacao, and I was reflecting back on it actually, and cacao has been in my life since like 2012,
Mm.
2013,
Okay.
and it arrived from a client. And so
Mm.
I had a client who lives in Peru, and I guess they discovered this like rare form of cacao, and so I started working with them. And then it kept calling me. So right now I'm drinking cacao and of course I have to be extra. So I brew it with some so instead of just using plain hot water, I made tea, and
Mm.
then that tea is what made the cacao.
Oh my God. So you got like three levels in there. You have a
I
tea,
know.
cacao.
There's layers to this. Yes. Yes.
I
And
love
then I
that.
added honey. So local honey, my mom is a beekeeper. So
Love that.
we have little feral bees in the back,
Oh, I love
and
that.
it's local honey, which helps with allergies and things like that.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is find your local honey, your
Yeah.
local beekeeper,
Yeah.
and get you some honey starting in December.
Yeah. Honey has like so many medicinal qualities. You would never know. Like to heal wounds, to help if you have like psoriasis on your scalp. Like I went down the rabbit hole the other day and I'm like, honey? Yeah.
Honey is the best thing. It's
Yeah.
like, and I mean, of course, my mom said beekeeper, so she gets very much into it. She calls her bees las niñas. It's so funny.
Oh, I love
Yes.
it.
So I'm drinking cacao, but I have coffee
Mhm.
that I just pour into my cacao as I'm like kind of when my cacao is halfway through, then I start pouring coffee on it. And this is just regular schmegular drip coffee.
Okay, got it.
I also have an espresso machine. But my ritual right now is cacao because I brew the tea and I like infuse the water. I'm like,
That's
man,
you're committed, girl.
I'm committed. Cacao actually healed my womb.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow. You'd be surprised. I feel like we got to go back to,
I mean, it's the only way.
yeah.
I was taking medicine for fibroids,
Mhm.
and I had a fibroid that was the size, like basically the doctor was like, "So your uterus is the size of an 18-week pregnancy because of fibroids,"
Yeah.
and I was
Same.
like, "That's large," and he was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, no, it's pretty large," and so I was taking medicine, didn't work.
Never
I
does.
was like, yeah, I was anemic. Like it made me bleed so much. It was not. And so I was like, you know what? Let's go back to the plant. And so I started building the relationship with cacao, and now my tummy's flat. There's no more
That's
fire. Like
beautiful.
they shrunk.
So when you
Hmm.
went back to get another sonogram, it was gone, or it was just significantly smaller.
I haven't gone back, but you can't see it. Yeah, like
Wow.
you could physically. I looked pregnant.
Insane. Isn't it crazy how we already had everything we have here and we just got so pulled away from it and now we got to get
Disconnected
back to yeah, yeah,
for sure. For
yeah,
sure. It's and what I was gonna say about coffee. I think what I've learned as I've been building my relationship with cacao is that we can also build a relationship with coffee
yeah.
because I talked about this study. I don't know if you've ever seen the study on water.
No.
So a Japanese scientist, he microscopically saw the molecule of water.
Mm-hmm.
And what he realized is that water connects with energy. So if he talked beautiful things to water, then the molecule of water would like just flourish. If he
Mm-hmm.
talked hate to water, and he at a microscopic level would see it, then it would fall apart.
Oof.
And so what he realized is that, I mean, one, humans were over 50% water. So if we talk mean to ourselves, what happens to
100%.
ourselves?
100%.
And so with that, like every time, like I bless my water. Like it's very like
It's true.
one of my clients is like, you really are extra. When you say you're
It's
extra, you really
true.
are.
No, but it's true. It's
But we
true. I
have to
mean,
do it.
even people, I mean, they've had those same studies with cancer where people were like super depressed and they were, and it just, the cancer metastasized, where people were just living their lives, who were happy, they were taking the medications, the same thing, it was dissipating. Your mind will never be able to unlock what our brains can really do, but your mind has such capacity to really heal itself. It knows what it needs to do on its own. So a lot of these medications mimic what the brain is supposed to already do. Like, even, I don't shame anyone who takes Ozempic or any of that, but it's a synthetic GLP-1, which your brain already creates
Create.
GLP-1.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Yeah, no, like the body's meant to self heal. You know, you get a paper cut, and what happens tomorrow? It's gone.
I put turmeric on a heel. I had a
Ooh.
very thick cut, and I was like, I can't make it to the hospital to get stitches. And I had a girlfriend, her husband said, just put turmeric on it. And I'm like, really? I doused it with turmeric. It's like it, and it was it was such a deep cut. Gone.
Wow. See? The plants, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the show. Super long coffee break. Here's the thing. Latina families have been saving money forever. From reusing plastic containers for comida, folding up plastic bags under the sink, and diluting dish soap with water. The last thing we need is to pay fees to access our money, right? Was in case you didn't know, BMO customers have access to 40,000 fee-free ATMs across the United States. Plus, their BMO Smart Advantage checking account has no monthly maintenance fee. Learn more about how BMO can help by visiting bmo.com/checking. bmo.com/checking. Conditions apply. Accounts provided in the United States by BMO Bank, NA member FDIC. Let's talk about something we all deserve: financial empowerment. Whether you're tackling debt, planning for retirement, or starting that dream business, navigating your finances can feel overwhelming. But it doesn't have to be, thanks to Savvy Ladies. Savvy Ladies is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping women like you take control of your financial future. They offer free resources, webinars, and my favorite, a free financial helpline where you can connect one on one with trusted financial experts. And yes, it's completely free. Whether you're just starting your financial journey or need guidance on a specific challenge, Savvy Ladies is here to provide quality and trusted advice you can count on. So why wait? Visit savvyladies.org today and connect with the financial helpline to get the personalized support you deserve. Your journey to financial independence starts here. That is savvyladies.org. Your path to financial freedom can start today. So, Crystal, the Black Latina Movement, tell us about it.
It is a theater film web production company that talks, it displays shows and whether, again, theater, film, what have you, media that displays us in it. So whether it's in front of the camera on the stage or behind the camera on the stage. Because a lot of times when we talk about equity, we talk about wanting to see things that look like you, right? You want to see the actress in the movie, you want to see the woman on the commercial, but also, when we talk about a seat at the table in equity, we have to talk about the people behind those things too.
Mm.
The gaffers, the sound engineers, the stage managers, the producers, the writers. You also want it to be people who look and sound like you. So that's been my mission, is to get, the Black and Brown community fully up and running to be in film and theater. And there's so many of us that are doing it, but they just don't get enough, space to do that, because it's, no one, I don't want to say no one knows they exist, but they're just not given the opportunities.
Mm,
And so for me, it's a dual functionality of writing pieces that look and sound like us, but also hiring the people that can make that happen.
I love that. And I think about how fun would it be to like come to a play that's fully black and brown.
Yeah. There's no code switching. We could say whatever we want.
Right.
It's like you could speak half in Spanish, half in, everyone knows what's going on. We made a joke because when we had our last show off Broadway in May, we had one guy, one white guy, and I was like, "You should be privileged to be here. I love him. His name is Vincent. We worked together for like 20 years." And he's like, "It's always a privilege to be the one, I can now be the token person." But yeah, but it's not like we don't hire, white people. It's just I want to also enrich our community. There's so many of us that could do the work as well. And so it's always a fun time, because you walk in a room that's just black and brown, and it's just such a stark contrast to like some of the other spaces we've been in.
What are the contrast besides like the code switching or the type of stories, or what things do you notice?
You feel well, you feel like home, you feel more comfortable.
Mhm.
I don't know what their experience is, but I know that there's always a little bit of like, that there's a line we can't cross. And there's always going to be a little, if something happens in the world, right, like let's say everything that's going on with ICE, if you're in a space that's not your own, it's going to be like, so how's the weather, right? Like, but if you're
Right.
in a black and brown space, it's like, girl, can we talk real quick? Can we just decompress real quick, and then we could go on to whatever cheese meal we have? Those nuances make a difference, because you're not bottling it up. If I'm at a place at 9 to 5 and I know these things are going on, I'm like, I don't know if he feels comfortable or she feels comfortable with me talking about it. She may not. I
Mhm.
don't want to be an HR issue. I don't want them. But if you're in a black and brown space, not that black and brown people didn't vote for him, but you have more capacity to kind of play and talk and be serious about things that are more meaningful.
For sure, because you're directly connected
Yeah.
to what's happening.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And I think of the times when I've been in spaces that are not as diverse, and how hasta da flojera, like, you don't even wanna bring it up because then you're like, "I'm gonna have
Right.
to explain,
Right.
and so let's not even talk about it."
Right. Right. Because then it's like you got to give so much backstory. It's like, I forget. It's okay. Like, let's just continue.
Right? I'll just I'll just call my friend who
Yeah.
understands.
Exactly. 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 And it's that way in theater and film. It's the same way, because there's certain things that you would say as a character, or there's certain movements that you would make
Mm.
that they can't make, right? Like in ballet, it's all about the lines, and it's all about just the structure. In African based dances, whether you're doing plena, bomba, you're doing cumbia, it's not about perfection. It's about the music. It's about your family. It's about your soul. If you look at Native American, those beautiful circle dances, the same thing. So
Mhm.
even in the arts, it's not as structured, and it's not supposed to be, right? Like when people get a recipe, even food, right? Like, what's the recipe? It's like, girl, there is no recipe. You eyeball it. Like, what? How
Right,
many?
right.
How much sazon am I supposed to put? I don't know. Did you taste it?
But
Right?
it feels good. Yes.
You can't ask your grandmother for a recipe book. She's gonna be like, mija, right? So there's so many things that are culturally you can't define, and in certain spaces you have to, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's how, like, one culture is very linear and ours is very, like, long and twisted, and
It flows like water. Back to your water.
yes, back to the water, it just flows. I love that. It made me, as you're sharing, it also made me think about, like, the code switching aspect, and even the I recently went to an event where 2 women, worked on translating a book by Octavia Butler. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was Octavia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I might be messing that up. It might be Octavia Butler, or a Black scholar.
Mhm.
And the one of the women she's an Afro-Mexican, and the other one is Black Latina. I think
Mhm.
she has a African American dad and a Latino mom, I
Mhm.
think. But the point of the story is that what they realized is that translated books into like Black scholar books translated into Spanish would not, like, they did
Mhm.
not work
Mhm.
because of the nuance of the language.
Yeah.
So even there's like little tiny things in language and sharing and storytelling and the things that we say. And that's something that with my privilege of speaking both languages,
Yeah.
I never thought about that, and
Yeah.
how someone who didn't speak English, if they picked up a book by Octavia Butler in Spanish,
Mhm. It wouldn't.
there's
Yeah.
gonna be some things that are just not gonna make sense because the translation is not correct. And so it's very fascinating.
How beautiful is that, right? It's just
I
so.
know.
It's like learning, and like you said, being able to be in both worlds, like learning that, because every single thing is so different. It's just so nuanced. You don't, and how do you explain that or express that? But it's such a beautiful complexity to have.
Totally. And I think, like, I couldn't tell a story that you have because I don't have your experience.
Hmm.
Like, there's no way, but I can build the space so you can come and tell us about it.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing to allowing all the stories to be shared. And this is why I'm so passionate about sharing all of our stories, because we need to learn those things.
Yeah.
Like, even I think about your play where you talk about the various women and the experiences. I wouldn't have been able to understand it unless I saw it, because it's so far from I mean, probably less far than a white woman, but it's far from my experience that this is why art is so necessary, going back to art.
There's a beautiful picture. We performed at the Smithsonian. There's a beautiful painting at the Smithsonian. I don't know if it's. I mean, I didn't ask it. It may be real, but it's a beautiful picture, and it shows Central South America, the Caribbean, and it shows Africa, and it shows the Arawak Indians and the Maroon people, and it shows all the boats, like little boats, and how they had their own trade system, and how why there's such similarities in some of the things. So you see the Tainos,
Yes.
or and you see the Incas and the Aztecs from South and Central America, and they're on their boats and they're all like handing each other different. It's just such a beautiful picture, and it's like even
Mm,
it. So to your point of like the language, right? They all spoke different languages. They probably had an inter translingual kind of thing, but to all know each other and appreciate each other, and then that's how you get some of these mixtures that we have that are just incredible. You can't even explain it. You can go to Peru and then be like, "This Chinese food here," but then you can go
right.
to like DR and have monfongo, and it's like,
Mm,
wait, but this is like fufu in Africa, and like how did these and it's just this mixture that I love, because we don't just have this one thing.
hmm. Yeah, we need all of it.
There's tamales in Mexico and tamales in Belize.
Right.
What? There's black people that make
Yeah.
tamales? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even like I think of tacos, we have in Mexico we have tacos al pastor, which is on the like trompo, like
Mm-hmm.
it's the rolling. That's
Mm-hmm.
very Middle Eastern.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it literally came from the Middle East.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're all connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for Black Latina Movement?
So we have a event that it's called Talks in Tequila, and we travel the country with
Ooh.
it. And it's a girls' meetup. It's like a happy hour. We get together, we talk, we have a good time. There's like we have like a list of things that we discuss, but it could be anything as far, it could be from ice to you hate your boyfriend to your kids are going to college to it's just really just a mixture of just all the different things that we want to address and talk. We play games, so it's nice. So we're going to be in Chicago in September. Then we're going to Orlando in October. And so it's great. Like I get to meet again, like some people are not into shows and plays, so this is another way of me meeting our, our audience, our community, and just touching base with them. And women love it. I mean, we had one in Jersey not too long ago, and we were like, we just needed this. This was crazy. It's just been crazy. We've only been in the year for 2 months, and it's already been crazy. So it's just nice when you have community. Because again, back to like the code switching and not having to feel like you have to be a certain kind of way. It's a hub for women to kind of get out and feel good about themselves and not have to feel so stuck in the mud of everything.
Mm.
So we have those two events coming up, and then Black Latina is going to be in Chicago, the play, for about from like a Friday to a Sunday in April. So all of this is on the website. People can go to the website and see it, or follow us on Instagram and see that there. And yeah, and then we have a little couple other things that we're working on. But all exciting stuff always.
How fun.
Yeah.
So fun. I often hear Black Latinas, Afro Latinas talk about how like the Latina movement doesn't include them.
Yeah.
What's your message for that?
Um, I think that some of the issues that Latinos are facing are like on colorism, are like issues that I feel like the Black community has faced as well, with the whole light and dark. There were like the paper bag test in like the 60s, where like if you wanted to get into a party, you had to be lighter than a paper bag. Like Blacks have went through a lot of that. I feel like Latinos are just starting to kind of open up and be honest about that, because we've had it for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch a novela and the maid is the Black person or the babysitter, but I feel like we have a lot of pride, and Latinos are like really sensitive about like telling your business. Like you can't tell people what goes on in our home.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the tides are changing because we have solidarity in our brothers and our sisters. Whether you're a white Latina, whether you're an Asian Latina, whatever Latina you are, there are a lot of Latinos that are supporting the Black and Afro experience, because either they know us, they love us, they have family. I think these stories are just, it's always easier to say the bad stuff, right? Like back to customer service, you only know the bad stuff that happens. You don't know if somebody had great service. So like
Yes.
I haven't had a lot of Latinas who are non-Black that made me feel like they weren't supporting the movement.
Mm.
And maybe because I've just been so loud about it, they know the ones who don't kind of stay away. But and I know there are a lot of Latinos that just are like, this is crazy, this is too much. You're creating more division. I've been told that. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, 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 yeah. However, I always lean into the positive. So it's like, yeah, I know that exists, but I'm not paying attention to those people. I'm paying attention to the ones. I go where I'm celebrated. I go where the love is there,
Mm-hmm.
where the support is there, and the allyship is there. And to me, that's what I lean more into.
How would you be creating more division?
Well, because the idea was like, people like to think that Latinos are all one thing. And it's like,
Uh-huh.
you can have different types of Latinos in the Latino umbrella. But I think in creating a subset, air quotes, it's like, well, then you're making us be something that we're not. And it's like, do you not know your history? Do you not?
Mm.
So I think it's the whitewashing. It's a lot of the governments, that a lot of the governments in a lot of our home countries had a lot of anti-black propaganda, and it's to mejor la raza, right? Like we have to elevate
Mm-hmm.
our race, and it's like there's no elevating it. You're not white. Like there's nothing you can do that's gonna make you white. And you can't, even if you have no African in you, you're still not white. You are of indigenous heritage, right? Like
Yes.
you're an indigenous person from Cuba or Mexico or Panama or Paraguay. Yeah, like that's the thing about Latinos. It's like, wait, what? So for me, I think even then we have an identity crisis. Why are we leaning into our indigenous backgrounds that are
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, that have these amazing stories? I loved when they had the Latinos in Black Panther, and you got to see
Oh, I
all of that,
know.
right?
That was really fun.
Was amazing. I mean, Mexico is rich with stories, and it's like, why are we just leaning into this? But again, it's whitewashing and white supremacy, feeling like the closer I get to this is the goal. If I get there, I'm at the epitome of life and beauty. Not realizing that no, that's not.
Life and beauty is here.
Yeah, it's always been here. Yeah.
It's always been here. I love that. Tell us all the places and spaces where we can find you.
So our website, www.blacklatina.movement.com, the whole thing spelled out. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all Black Latina Movement spelled out.
Do you ever come to the West Coast?
At times, yeah, like if we have a show, I will come out to the West Coast. I'm trying to get out there more, like with the shows, like not just from a university or a school having us come out, because that's really how we tour,
Yeah.
but more like on our own with the shows or with the Talks and Tequila. So just we'll put that out in the universe to say that hopefully we get there.
Let me know. Let me know when you bring a play to
Yes,
the West Coast. That
yes,
would be so fun. I think it's necessary. I
yeah,
don't know if there's, like you said at the beginning, New York is very unique, and I don't know if we have that on this
yeah,
side of the country.
yeah.
Last two questions. Do you have a remedy you want to share with us? Sure, the turmeric. So that was real good.
Oh
But
yeah, that was good. I don't know. With my family, everything is like tea or ginger ale. You got a stomach ache, you drink some ginger ale
oh,
or tea. If you have a headache, you drink ginger ale or something. It's just always that. It's like why? That doesn't change everything, but yeah, that's one of the remedies.
it's like, yeah, every family has like their thing,
Yeah,
and people are like, I don't know why, but it works.
yeah, and so
It's
and a
like
lot of
sana
times it
sana, you
does.
know.
Yeah,
They did you hear that they studied sana sana?
no.
So sana sana colita de rana was studied, and what they realized, it's back to the water. So it's such a, we can call it ritual. It's such a ritual of love
Mhm.
and grace and affection and nurturing, that when kids like actually their body, like they did fall, let's say, and then the mom is like sana sana colita de rana, no pasa nada, then the kid actually believes that, and that they do feel better.
Yeah. It's I'm telling you, it's all mental. Like I'm like into this whole neural science thing now
Yes.
and how like neuroscience and spirituality are so interconnected. I'm like I've been going down this rabbit hole for like 2 3 weeks already. So believe me,
It's
Pam,
so
I
fun.
I believe it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. It's all in your, that's why I infuse my water, and I like,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
partner's like, you're making your potions, and I'm like, yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
They're all potiony. Um okay. And do you have a quote or mantra that you live by right now?
Um, I think I have two from my grandmother. My grandmother used to always say, if somebody was like doing something and you were trying to get them to not do it, you know the saying that's like, if you keep repeating the same thing, it's considered insanity. Like I would think Einstein, she would say like they're stuck on stupid. If you can't do anything, if they're gonna be stuck on that, if they're gonna keep saying this over and over, if they're gonna keep behaving this way, then they're stuck on stupid. You can't remove them from the stupid if they want to
I
be in the
love
stupid. So she used to always say that. And then she would always say like, if something serious was going on, she would always say like, leave it up to God. Whatever
mm,
is His will is His will. Like you can't force it, you can't make it be what it needs to be. He's gonna then come in and through His intervention and through spirituality, it'll change and you'll see whatever you need to see. Yeah.
faith runs deep
Yeah.
in our communities.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
it's a big one.
She used
I
to
love
just
it.
say, just let it go, leave it up. I'm like, but grandma, da, da, da. It's like, let it go. And it's like, letting it go is the hardest thing, but walking on faith and saying, I know He got me. I might not see the change now. It might be 2 years from now, whatever. It's like, whatever it was, whether it was a new job, whether it was like a heartache of a boyfriend who cheated. And she's like, there, leave it up to God. He's going to get hit. It would be things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So stuck on stupid and leave it up to God.
I love that. It's very grounding,
Yeah.
because it's an invitation to trust.
Yeah.
Trust what is.
Yeah.
Have fun. Well, Crystal, thank you so much for coming to Café con Pam.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your work. We so need it. Keep doing art.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
necessary.
And you keep doing this. This is so important. This is very important. It fills so many people's cups. These conversations are important for others to take and get gems and feel like they're not alone. This brings more solidarity and more community. Yeah.
And like, even if one person, because I do have a lot of white people listen to me actually,
Mm-hmm.
and I've received messages when they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that was a
Yeah,
thing." Oh, yes,
yeah,
ma'am, it is a thing.
yeah. It's important for them to know.
Totally.
Yeah,
And going back to people witnessing what you share in your place, for example, they wouldn't see it unless they saw it.
right,
We wouldn't see things unless we saw it.
right, right.
So here we are. Well,
Here
thank
we
you,
are.
Crystal, so much.
Thank you so much, Pam.
All right, listeners. So that was my conversation with Crystal. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some inspiration. That's something that I've been hearing from you lately when I receive your messages. And I love how people have recently, I feel like people took a break from Kafa Kompam and people are returning to Kafa Kompam. So welcome back. Because I've been getting a couple of messages of people are like, you know what, I took a break and I went on to read books or listen to other people. I went to cheat on you. It's fine. I still love you. And now I'm back and I'm hearing all these stories and they're amazing. And thank you for being here. Thank you for returning. I welcome you back with open arms. And I'm glad the stories are inspiring to you. And since we are in the middle of Verano con Self Love, I also want to know, how do you feel about those stories, but especially this one with Crystal? Screenshot, tag us, send me a DM, send us messages, tell us how you feel with the episode. Tell me what else. Who else would you like me to interview? Because why not? Your suggestions are always great. And if you feel called to support my work and the work of not just mine, but the team behind Cafe con Pam, which is small but mighty, you can also check out, leave us, of course, the easiest thing: subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, share with people that you love and care about, because it helps. It does help a ton. When you share the episode, when you leave ratings and reviews in your podcast listening platforms, it does help because everything has an algorithm. And the more you engage with it, the more people know and learn about us. And so I appreciate so much when you take the time to do all of the things, and even when you take the time out of your day to listen, it's highly appreciated. I don't take you for granted for doing it. If you feel called to support in an additional way, then you can check out the Supporters Club, which is a $5 a month contribution. You buy us coffee and you get access to Kava Gumpam episodes ad free. That's the most important thing, because as a small team without capital and with very a small amount of annual sponsors, we have to open it up for revenue, for ad revenue. And so the public facing podcast does get ad revenue. The Supporters Club, they you only get the very tiny annual ad sponsors, and you also get access to additional episodes. So people in the Supporters Club actually got the Verano con Self Love early. So, there are some benefits to being a Supporters Club member. And buying, it's $5, y'all. I feel like you spend $5 just breathing. So if you feel called, I so do appreciate it. Also, if you want to check out my work, not only as a coach, as a speaker, go to cafecompam.com. That's where you can find all the things. You can also go to my personal website, which is currently kind of like being updated, but under cafecompam.com, that's where you can find us and find all the things that we do. At Cafe Compam Podcast on all the socials. I love to stay connected and respond to your messages. It's one of my favorite things. If for some reason I don't get to your message and you sent me a DM, it's probably hidden. It's happened. But when I find it, I'll respond to you. So thank you again. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. Y como siempre, sigue brillando.
Sabrosura pa' ti que.